start Unit 1 of Fluid Mechanics, that is Fluid Statics. This chapter covers the following topics: pressure, manometer, barometer and atmospheric pressure, introduction to fluid statics, hydrostatic forces on submerged plane surfaces, hydrostatic forces on curved surfaces, buoyancy and stability of floating and submerged body. Pressure. The fluid property that is responsible for forces applied by fluid at rest or in rigid body motion is pressure. Generally, pressure is normal force exerted by a fluid per unit area, or we can say that force applied per unit normal area. It is also defined as it is a rate of change of linear momentum of particles per unit normal area for gases. We speak of pressure only when we deal with gas or a liquid. The counterpart of pressure in solid is normal stress. Pressure has unit Newton per square meter, which is also called Pascal. 1 Pascal is equals to 1 Newton per square meter. 1 kilopascal equals to 1000 Pascal or 1000 Newton per square meter. 1 megapascal is equals to 10 to the power 6 Pascal or equals to 10 to the power 3 kilopascal or equals to 10 to the power 6 Newton per square meter. Three other measures of pressure commonly used in practice are bar, atmosphere and kilogram force per square centimeter. We must know the unit conversion. So 1 bar is equals to 10 to the power 5 Pascal, which is equals to, if we divide 10 to the power 5 divided by 10 to the power 6, is equals to 0.1 megapascal and is equals to 10 to the power 5 Pascal or equals to 100 kilopascal. 10 to the power 5 divided by 1000, so equals to 100 kilopascal. 1 atmosphere is equals to 101,325 Pascal. Divide it by 1000, so we get kilopascal, 101.325 Pascal. Divide this by 10 to the power 5, we get bar, 1.01325 bars. 1 kilogram force per square centimeter. We know that 1 kilogram force equals to 9.81 Newton or equals to 9.807 Newton. So 1 kilogram force per square centimeter is equals to 9.807 Newton per square centimeter. 1 centimeter equals to 10 to the power minus 2. So 1 square centimeter equals to 10 to the power minus 4 square meter. So here 9.807 into 10 to the power 4 Newton per square meter. So we convert it into the Pascal. So 1 Newton per square meter equals to Pascal. 9.807 and 10 to the power 4 Pascal. Okay. So is equals to, divide it by the 10 to the power 5. We get bar. 1 bar equals to 10 to the power 5 Pascal. So 1 kilogram force per square centimeter is equals to 0.9807 bar. And 1 atmosphere is equals to 1.01325 bar. And 1 bar is equals to 1 by 1.01325 atmosphere. So 1 bar, 0.9807 bar is equals to 0.9807 divided by 1.01325, which is equals to 0.967 atmosphere. Okay. In the English system, the pressure unit is pound force per square inch. This is the pound force per square inch, which is represented by psi, and 1 atmosphere is equals to 14.696 psi, and 1 kilogram force per square centimeter is equals to 14.22 psi. Then types of pressure: absolute pressure, gauge pressure, and vacuum pressures. The actual pressure at a given position is called absolute pressure. Always remember, absolute pressure is measured with respect to the absolute vacuum. That is absolute zero pressure. The most measuring devices are calibrated to read zero in the atmosphere. So, they indicate the difference between the absolute pressure and the local atmospheric pressure, which is called gauge pressure. So, gauge pressure is always above than that of atmospheric pressure. The pressure below atmospheric pressure is called vacuum pressure and measured by vacuum gauges. For better understanding, look at this diagram. This is the absolute vacuum line, means absolute pressure is zero. This dashed line is the atmospheric pressure line. Okay, from this to this distance, the atmospheric pressure. This is the atmospheric pressure. Gauge pressure is always above than that of atmospheric pressure. It is a positive pressure. So from this point to this point is the gauge pressure, and from with respect to absolute vacuum, this is the absolute pressure. So what is absolute pressure in this case? Absolute pressure is equals to atmospheric pressure plus gauge pressure. Therefore, gauge pressure is equals to absolute pressure minus atmospheric pressure. Now, look at this diagram. The vacuum pressure. Vacuum is the negative pressure, means lower than that of atmospheric pressure. So this is the atmospheric pressure. We want to measure pressure at this point. This is the absolute pressure. So absolute pressure is equals to atmospheric pressure minus vacuum pressure. So vacuum pressure is equals to P atmospheric minus P absolute. P vacuum is this. The P vacuum is equals to P atmospheric minus P absolute. That is the negative of this gauge pressure. Always remember, gauge pressure above than that of atmospheric pressure, it reads positive value. Vacuum pressure is below than that of atmospheric pressure, it reads negative value. Now we can understand this by this simple example. Look at this question. A vacuum gauge connected to a chamber reads 5.8 psi. Psi means pound force per square inch at a location where the atmospheric pressure is 14.5 psi. So given pressure is less than atmospheric pressure. Determine the absolute pressure in the chamber. So given pressure is less than atmospheric pressure means it is a vacuum pressure. So by relation, what is the relation? Absolute pressure is equals to atmospheric pressure minus vacuum pressure. What is absolute pressure? 14.5 minus 5.8, then equals to 8.7 psi. So what is the absolute pressure in this case? 8.7 psi. So note that the local value of atmospheric pressure is used when determining the absolute pressure. Now next, Pascal's law. Pascal's law states that the pressure at any point is the same in all directions, hence it is a scalar quantity in fluid statics. We can also define it states that any 2 points at same elevation in continuous mass of static fluid will be at the same pressure. Or the principle of transmission of fluid pressure is a principle in fluid mechanics that states that pressure exerted anywhere in confined incompressible fluid is transmitted equally in all directions throughout the fluid, such that the pressure variation remains same. So pressure varies with respect to depth, it remains same in the horizontal plane. Pressure at a point, we can drive a relation. Look at this. This is a fluid, triangular fluid element. Dimensions are delta x, delta z, and width is equals to unit. Okay. Now, this is the force. Force is equals to pressure and the normal area. So delta z is the length for this, and delta y is equals to 1. So area is delta z into 1. So delta z, the force equals to P1 into delta z. Now at this point, delta x multiplied by 1, the area is delta x. So force is P2 multiplied by area, that is delta x. Now this is the normal direction, and this perpendicular direction, and this makes an angle theta with this direction, means with respect to delta z. The hypotenuse is given to us L. So P3 into L, width is unit. L is the area, P3 is the pressure. So force is equals to P3 into L. And W acts at the center of gravity of this fluid element. Now we applied the equilibrium condition for a static body, a static fluid element. The summation of force in the direction of x is equals to 0, and summation of force in the direction of z equals to 0. Now apply first condition. The summation of force in the direction of x equals to 0. X, this is the x direction. P1 multiplied by delta z. Weight always act in this negative z direction. Now resolve the forces. The P3L, this is theta, and now this angle is 90 minus theta. So this force is P3L sin theta. So this x direction is positive. P1 delta z minus P3L sin theta is equals to 0. This is the first equation. Now summation of force in the direction of z is equals to 0. P2 delta x positive value. Then this P3L cos theta. This is downward direction. So minus P3L cos theta. Weight is x in downward direction. What is weight? W. W is equals to m multiplied by g. What is m? Mass of the fluid element, and which is equals to density multiplied by volume. The density multiplied by volume of this fluid element. Area of this fluid element is half delta x into delta z. And what is height? Width. Height or width is equals to delta y equals to 1. So volume is half delta x into delta z. So W equals to m into g. M is equals to half rho delta x into delta z, which is multiplied by g. Yeah. So balance it. P2 delta x minus P3L cos theta minus half rho g delta x delta z equals to 0. Now look at this value L sin theta. This is triangle delta x delta z L. The delta x upon L base upon hypotenuse is the cos theta. Delta z upon L perpendicular upon hypotenuse sin theta. So L sin theta equals to delta z. Put at delta z. Delta z. The equation is P1 minus P3 multiplied by delta z equals to 0. So delta z is not equals to 0. So P1 minus P3 is equals to 0. Now at this condition, L cos theta. L cos theta is equals to delta x. Put here delta x. So equation is P2 minus P3 minus half rho g delta z multiplied by delta x is equals to 0. Delta x is not equals to 0. Therefore, P2 minus P3 minus half rho g delta z equals to 0. So by this equation, P1 is equals to P3. And for this fluid element, P2 is equals to P3. Delta z is very small, tends to 0. So P2 is equals to P3. So we finally get P1 is equals to P2 is equals to P3 is equals to P. The forces acts on wedge-shaped fluid element in equilibrium conditions. This is triangular wedge. Okay. The pressure at a point in a fluid has same magnitude in all direction. Now, variation of pressure with depth. Pressure in a fluid at rest doesn't change in the horizontal direction. Pressure in a fluid increases with depth because more fluid rests on deeper layer extra weight. In downward direction, pressure increases. The pressure of fluid at rest increases with respect to the depth because the added weight is more at higher depth. To obtain a relation for the variation of pressure with depth. Look at this figure. This is a rectangular fluid element or parallelopiped with unit width. It is a rectangular fluid element, two-dimensional. So apply the equilibrium condition. The summation of forces in the z direction is equals to 0. This is a mass, this is acceleration in z direction. Summation of force. What is force applied on this face? P2 multiplied by delta x. Width is unit. So P2 multiplied by delta x. Then this is downward direction. P1 multiplied by delta x. Upward is positive, downward negative. Minus P1 delta x multiplied minus weight, and weight is equals to m into g. What is m? Density into volume. What is volume? Delta x delta z multiplied with width is equals to 1. The volume is delta x into delta z. So therefore final equation is P2 delta x minus P1 delta x minus rho g delta x delta z equals to 0. Delta x is common. So P2 minus P1 minus rho g delta z multiplied by delta x equals to 0. Delta x doesn't equals to 0. Therefore, P2 minus P1 minus rho g delta z is equals to 0. We finally get P2 minus P1 is equals to rho g delta z. Rho into g, it is a specific weight. What is specific weight? Weight per unit volume. Weight equals to mg upon volume, m upon v equals to rho. So rho g is the specific weight. Okay, so delta p is equals to P2 minus P1 is equals to rho g delta z. So gamma is the specific weight rho g, delta z vertical distance, and it is called the pressure head. We also conclude that for a small to moderate distance, the variation of pressure with height is negligible for gases because of their low density. The density of water is 1000 kilogram per cubic meter and density of air is 1.293 kilogram per cubic meter, very low as compared to the density of water. So variation with respect to depth for air is very small as compared to the variation of pressure with respect to depth for water or any other liquid. Look at this diagram. P1, a surrounding condition is atmospheric pressure. So here is the atmospheric pressure. This is 2. The P2 equals to atmospheric pressure plus rho g h. So P is equals to P atmospheric plus rho g h. This is the general formula. So P2 is equals to P atmospheric plus rho g h. So gauge pressure is always above than that of atmospheric pressure, which is equals to rho g h. So rho g h is the gauge pressure, and this is the total pressure is equals to atmospheric pressure plus rho g h. The pressure in liquid at rest increases linearly with distance from the free surface. Look at fluid from this to this. Pressure is regularly increases with respect to depth. Point A, point B, point C, point D, point E, point F. All these points have same depth. So pressure is only dependent upon the H, the depth and density of fluid. For all these points, same fluid is there, that is water. So pressure is also same. So PA equals to PB equals to PC equals to PD is equals to PE is equals to PF equals to PG, which is equals to P atmospheric plus rho g. Now look at point H and I. Here is the mercury, water plus mercury, and here only water. So it depends, pressure at point I depends on the density of Water only. Height is same for both condition H and I, and pressure at point H depend upon density of water and density of mercury. So density of mercury is very high as compared to the density of water. So pressure at H is greater than pressure at I. Okay, so pressure at H is not equals to pressure at I. Right? The pressure is the same at all point in horizontal plane in a given fluid, regardless of geometry, provided that the points are interconnected by the same fluid. By this equation, that pressure at the same at all points on the horizontal plane, regardless of geometry, any type of geometry, independent of this geometry, because pressure depends on density, G is constant, and the depth. If depth is same, density is same, so pressure is same for all the points. If density varies, pressure varies. Depth varies, pressure varies. Pascal's law, explanation by a numerical. We can also explain by using this simple numerical. A consequence of pressure and fluid remaining constant in the horizontal direction is that the pressure applied to confined fluid increases the pressure throughout by the same amount. This is called Pascal's law. P1 is equals to P2. And what is pressure? Force applied per unit normally, F1 upon A1 is equals to F2 upon A2. So F2 upon F1 is equals to A2 upon A1. The area ratio A2 upon A1 is called the ideal mechanical advantages of this lift. This is the A1, this is A2, pressure P1, pressure P2. Using a hydraulic car jack with a piston area ratio A2 upon, this is the piston, A2 upon A1 given to us 10. The person can lift a 1000 kilogram car by applying a force. How much time? Less 10 times. So 1000 upon 10, 100 kilogram force, which is equals to 980 Newton. So lift the large weight, small force is the application of Pascal's law.